Hello students, in this video we shall understand a very important property of classes that it implements method overloading. Method overloading means that inside a class we can have different versions of a single method. What do we mean by different versions of a method is that suppose a function is named as callMe. In this example as shown, this function is described with the name as callMe and with the argument list as an array and with the return type as int. This exactly is called as the function definition. It's also called as prototype of the function too, and in some of the books it may also be called as the signature of the method. So there are different names which may be actually calling it with. So let us actually remember this property. Let me actually write it, that we are actually concerned with method signature or the prototype or the method definition. Rather, we will be calling it as the declaration. All these three can be named as interchangeably. What these three contains, there are three important things which are included into the signature, prototype or the declaration, is that we can have the name of the function, we can have the return type, and we can have the arguments. So a function can be explained with three properties. By method overloading, we say that a function definition or signature can be present in two ways or more than one way into a single class. Or another way we can also call it as a function with the same name can exist in multiple forms in the same class. So that means if I write a callMe function in this class again, is it allowed? So method overloading says yes, it is allowed, but your return type or the arguments list, they may differ. So why and how it is done, let us see through the experiment. So as you can see, I have a function, this callMe, which is taking an array reference as an argument and is returning the sum of all the elements of the list and returning that sum. Now, can I have another definition of the same function inside my same class, but this callMe function rather takes two array references. So function is same, return type is same, but the argument list is different. Earlier it was one array, now that it is two arrays. Now what do we mean? What functionality? For what functionality we have done it? Suppose I want to check that if I pass on two arrays to this function, it might tell me that which array is greater or having a greater length than the another one. So I will have to actually check or compare the length of the two arrays. So I will check a dot length is greater than b dot length. Then it says the first array is lengthier. Is lengthier. Else it will say the second array is lengthier. So now that we are having two different versions of this call me. So because this function is not returning anything, or we may also want it to return the length of the greater array, we may also do it like this. But if I am not interested, I can change the return type of this function too. So let us make use of this function inside my program. So inside main, I call this function call me is using two arrays. Suppose let us create two arrays. A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the another array what we are having is that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let us call this first call me and pass on the array A. So if I pass on a single array, what will it do? It is actually expected to make a call to this call function, which is expecting a single array, and it is bound to return the sum of the elements. But what if I make a call to this call me function by passing two arrays? So we will check how it is possible, and if there is an error in calling this, what error it is, and we will let it rectified. Let us compile this program and let us run this. As you can see, I think the program was not saved because it is showing the earlier output. Now as you can see that it is saying ob.callme. There is an error and it is not able to find the symbol ob. If you had visited my first video, you might have actually known that this call me function is actually a non-static function. It was bound to be called with a reference to an object. We had done it the same. But where is the ob? Ob has not been created. So we'll have to create an object first. So how the object will be created? Object will be created by making call to this class. Now that my error that is coming due to the absence of ob will be rectified. So let us save this program and let us run it again. Let us compile. Now it is saying another error. Another error is due to this saying void type not allowed here. What is the meaning of? Because this system.out.println is making a call to this ob.callme, which is actually returning void. So what exactly system.out.println will do? It will not do anything because it is not expected to return any value. So system.out.println was expecting a value to come from ob.callme, but whereas this callme function is returning void. So void cannot be printed by system.callme. That's why we will not call this callme function inside this println. So you will remember that every function that returns a void cannot store any value into a variable, or actually it cannot be called with reference to any function argument list, right? So let us save this program and run it. Now that it will be error free and you will be able to call. Let's run this program. It's saying previously it was 15. Now that the same call me function which I have called it here by passing one array where it was printing the sum of all the elements. Now that the same call me function when I pass two arrays is telling me which array is lengthier than the another one. So this is how we actually make use of method overloading. Let me actually point to one very important aspect of this method overloading. Now what I want to do, I make one more version of call me, but what I do is, let me copy. I have the same function written again, same argument, but what I do is I just change the return type. So the argument list is common, but the return type is different. So once it is returning, it is not expected to return anything. Let me not return this sum and let me print in directly out.println and print the value of the sum directly inside the function. So see what we are doing it. We are calling the function, we are defining the function call me with the same argument list but with different return type. Is it allowed in function overloading? Let us see. Let us save this program. So if I have made another version of it, so let me call another version of it too, because this call me is passed on to println, so it is expected to return anything. Now that I have called this function again, when I want this function not to return anything, and it is expecting a void call. So whether it is allowed or not, we'll have to see it. So we will conclude the function overloading then. Let's compile. Now that it is said, method call me is already defined in class 1. That means this cannot be done. So method overloading says that the argument list should be different all the time. You cannot have another definition with just a different return type. So this is actually one of very important question that is asked in the interviews too. That can we have a method of overloading present with similar argument list but with different return type? So this is not possible. A function overloading can be done when the different functions are defined inside a class with the same name but with different argument list all the time. So argument list must be different and the return type might or might not be different. This is how method overloading is explained. So that's it for this video. Let's meet in the next video.